Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. You may have heard the advice to never go to bed angry, but is that even possible in a long-term partnership? Joining us now with common myths that may be hurting your relationship, we welcome back psychologist Dr. Leah Katz. Great to see you.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is a nice kind of check-in post-Valentine's.
I know.
Especially when you're talking about a long-term partnership, these things come up. We're not perfect all the time.
Absolutely, for sure.
So we have some myths to go through. The first one being, don't go to bed angry.
Yeah.
That can be tough when you're talking about decades down the line.
It's so hard, and I think one of the hard things about that one is people feel like they have to do that, but then they end up getting themselves into really tricky situations and bigger fights and escalating fights, and then they feel like something's wrong with them if they do go to bed angry.
Right.
And I feel like maybe for some people that one works, but for a lot of people it just ends up backfiring. And so this idea of it's okay to go to bed angry.
Yeah.
It's okay to agree with your partner and say, this is too much, we're tired, we're getting dysregulated.
Sure.
Let's put this on the low shelf. I like that analogy. So like it goes on a low shelf. It doesn't go on the high shelf where it collects dust.
Okay.
We're gonna come back to it tomorrow when we're rested and regulated, hopefully. And that's okay. You know, sometimes people feel like, if we do this, there's something wrong with my relationship, and that couldn't be further from the truth.
That's a nice way to put it, because I think it makes sense. You can trick yourself into, let's solve this tonight.
Yep.
It almost turns into a death match. We're not leaving the room until
really
we figure it out, and sometimes you just don't have the tools.
Exactly, exactly. So actually it is a tool and it is a skill to learn how to take a break at night and know that, you know, that's the best thing for you to do. And I do see a lot of times couples escalate and escalate, and like things get ugly when they're tired. And so go to bed angry if you need to.
You can say things you don't really mean. Okay, how about don't rehash old wounds?
Yeah, that's a big one too. And I think that comes up for a lot of people where they feel like they've talked about it and they should be over it, or their partner tells them, we've already talked about this, or that happened 5 years ago. And that is a myth. If we still have an injury and we're still feeling raw or feeling bad about it, it's okay to bring it back up. I think it's so important to give ourselves permission to do that and to really make that agreement in our relationships that we get to bring things up until we feel like we've really processed them and done the appropriate amount of repair work.
Okay, so if maybe you're the offending partner and you feel like your loved one is bringing something back and you're not sure where you stand and you feel like, haven't I sort of atoned for this? How do you be supportive in that moment where you're like, how do we finally put this to bed?
Yeah, and I think that this work takes a lot of ego work and working with your defensiveness, because of course it makes sense if you feel like I've already apologized, we should be over this, and you're bringing it up again. The impulse is to get defensive and feel like, okay, well, I can't be here. But if you recognize the other person's reality, your partner's reality is equally as valid as yours. So you feel like we've already processed this, but they still feel like it's raw. Be able to notice the defense come up, hopefully, and this is so hard, be able to check it, put it aside, and just stay open for your partner. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, all of our feelings are valid. They're expressing something for a reason that's still hurting somewhere.
Exactly.
Okay, how about this myth? We never fight as a sign of a healthy relationship.
Yeah, and that's another one. And I'm so glad we're going through these, because I feel like a lot of people, especially people maybe in younger relationships, have these ideas of what makes a relationship healthy, and they're not accurate. And so this idea of, oh no, we never fight, or sometimes you see this portrayed on TV, and you feel like, oh, well, we do fight sometimes, and we do have our conflict, and is there something wrong with my relationship? Again, like that's such a inaccuracy. Conflict actually is healthy in relationships. It shows that we're engaged, it shows that we care about each other, it shows that we're like playing with each other. You know, like an analogy that I like is when you see two kids parallel play on the floor when they're really young. That's kind of like a relationship without any conflict. It's like, are you actually engaged with each other? And so it's not about not having conflict ever, it's about how you have conflict. So having those ground rules, how do we fight, and then how do we repair, you know?
Because you're gonna find disagreements at some point.
Yes.
It's about handling that in a healthy way.
Exactly. Handling it in a healthy way, and then sometimes things can get not great, and then apologizing and repairing. Like that's a part of the process.
It's okay. We're not gonna do it perfectly every time.
No, I mean, if you think about what makes a relationship work, it's two people with two different histories and backgrounds and everything, and so there's going to be conflict.
Yeah, it's not always going to be easy. Next myth, love is enough.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's not that simple.
It's not that, no, it's not that simple. And again, people feel like that, well, we love each other, it should be enough. And that's how people get into these longer relationships that just simply aren't healthy for them. love is not enough. Love is wonderful and it's amazing, but really being in a healthy relationship takes a lot of skill and agreements with your partner. This is how we manage all the things we were just talking about. This is how we communicate. This is how we manage conflict. This is how we choose to love each other, you know, to stay in love. I mean, that's a big piece of it too. We choose into our relationships every single day.
That's true. You show your partner your love by putting in the work and still moving forward. Okay, last one. You can change your partner. Oh my gosh, haven't we all learned that the hard way?
Oh my gosh.
It's not possible.
No, and so this is like one of those things that like I just wish we can all just really know and believe. You cannot change anyone else other than yourself. And we are all, as humans, capable of change, but it has to come from within and it has to be self-driven. So this idea of, I can change my partner, or I could work with this thing. It's not true. Making change takes a lot of heavy lifting.
You can change internally, your own expectations, even maybe your boundaries can change for yourself, but that doesn't mean you can inject that into your partner automatically.
No, right, exactly.
Okay, lots to think about. Good stuff. Always great to see you.
So
Thank you so much.
Too. Thanks for having me.
We'll have more information on our website at katu.com, and we'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.